Shalom, Yasha'Allah, Shalom, Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Malak Yahushai, Wabra Kakadash, Atazwan, Kabal Kabayim, Ashquayan Wa, Kom Yasha'Allah, Ahabatama Kim, Wa Akwa. Amen. We back at it with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Shema Yahushai. Sirach series, Sirach 21. Let's get into it. It says, My son, hast thou sinned? Do so no more, but ask pardon for thy former sins. It says, Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent. For if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee. The teeth thereof are as the teeth of a lion, slaying the souls of men. All iniquity is a two-edged sword, the wounds whereof cannot be healed. To terrify and do wrong will waste riches. Thus the house of proud men shall be made desolate. So, man, at the end of the day, what this is really going into is how sin is only to your detriment. You understand that? Sin, and when you transgressing God's laws, you can get no positivity out of sin. You understand that? Let's get this precept in Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse number 3. I'm gonna start at verse 31 actually. It says, But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which thou shalt teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. Right. So remember that in Sirach chapter 17 we talked about how these laws, statutes, and commandments, these commandments by God, that's our heritage. And not only is our heritage, it's kind of like it's a tangible thing when you keep these commandments. You understand that? You keep the commandment. Because remember, at the end of the day, Most High God giving us these commandments is a covenant, right? He made a covenant with us. He gave us the commandments. There's a reward after you partake in that covenant and you fulfill the office of it. Verse 32 says, Ye shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God hath commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right or to the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess it. Right? So when you fleeing from sin, staying away from sin, that helps you, it helps you be in good standing with the Most High God. It helps you, kind of stay on God's good side, right? Right? Because elsewise sin, right? Sin is just gonna keep you at a lower state. It's gonna keep you docile, right? It's gonna keep you under. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna also ultimately make you liable for destruction. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and verse number 49. It says, Like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman. So a whore, she's gonna envy a righteous woman. She gonna think she crazy. She gonna think she better than everybody. Whatever, right? So shall the righteous hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her face to face when he cometh that shall defend him, that diligently searcheth out every sin upon the earth, man. So you gotta diligently search out those sins and realize that, like, in order for you to be fleeing from sin, you gotta hate it. If you hate something, you're not gonna go back to it, right? I hate America and I hated New York. I don't want to go back. You feel what I'm saying? That's how it goes, man. You hate something, man, you flee from it, right? You just don't get involved. You understand that? When the Lord say, hey, if your right hand offends you, cut it off, that shouldn't be something too hard. Right? And that's when examination and stuff come into play, because you gotta see, okay, boom, like, okay, what's my thoughts really telling me? Like, what's really going on? Am I really hating sin? Or, you gotta examine yourself, right? Let's read on. Verse number 5. A prayer out of a poor man's mouth reaches to the ears of God, and his judgment cometh speedily. Remember, because this is a meek man, right? Somebody that's poor, he's in need of things, right? He's in need of things. And the Most High God deals with those men that's in need of things, right? It says, He that hateth to be reproved is in the way of sinners, but he that feareth the Lord will repent from his heart. An eloquent man is known far and near, right? But a man of understanding knoweth when he slippeth, right? It says an eloquent man. Let's get the definition of eloquent, right? All right. Let's get the definition of eloquent, right? Definition of eloquent. It says fluent or persuasive in speaking or writing, right? It says fluent or persuasive in speaking or writing. It says an eloquent man is known far and near, but a man of understanding knoweth when he slippeth. Right? Because you have to have understanding to be like, okay, boom, I just fell short with this sin. It's because I was doing this. It's because I was doing this. Because you got to have the understanding on how to examine yourself, really. It says, he that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathereth himself stones for the tomb of his burial. The congregation of the wicked is like tow wrapped together. At the end of them, is a flame of fire to destroy them. The way of sinners is made plain with stones, but at the end thereof is the pit of hell. Right? Is the pit of hell. Right? At the end thereof is the pit of hell. Because remember, sin is the transgression of the law. As you continue to transgress the law, right, statutes and commandments, you understand that? Because being an eloquent man, right, and being being in charge of your household as a man, these are statutes, right? Statutes and commandments, right? You understand that? So when you don't follow these things, hey, you digging your way to hell, right? It says that he that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof, right? So you have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God to actually have that understanding, the same understanding we just talked about, right? To whereas though you get this understanding, right, when you know the laws, because you know, okay, boom, if I didn't apply this precept, that's how I fell short. Right, and it takes understanding, right? Because your day-to-day basis, you might do something, say something, right, and you don't know the precept that's condemning what you're doing, right? So it takes to be studied, right, and that's understanding, because you have the understanding. Okay, boom, this precept says this. I didn't follow that. That's why this went this way. Okay, this precept says this. I kind of avoided this one. I did the complete opposite. That's why that happened. You understand that? That's the understanding that you get when you keep the laws of the Most High God. Right? It says, and the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. Right? And it's going to expound upon that, right? It says the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. It says, he that is not wise will not be taught, but there is a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness, right? Because if you're not wise, you're proud, right? You think you know everything, X, Y, Z. Right? It says, the knowledge of a wise man shall abound like a flood, and his counsel is like a pure fountain of life. Because you have that understanding, you're able to help other people, right? So it takes a certain amount of being humble, you understand that, and being lowly to be able to receive instruction from the people that surround you. Once you receive that instruction, now you build yourself up, and now you have that knowledge of a wise man shall abound like a flood. Because the things he say, one, is going to sit right with your spirit. Two, it is going to play out very, very, it's going to play out smooth, right? It's going to play out exactly how you planned it to. And that's how you're really going to be able to, really adhere to counsel when it's coming from a wise man. Your spirit, your mindset is going to tell you that. It says, the inner parts of a fool are like a broken vessel, and he will hold no knowledge as long as he liveth. If a skillful man hear a wise word, he will condemn it. Right? So he will commend it and add unto it. But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casteth it behind his back. Let's get a precept. I'm going to read this again. I'm going to get a precept. Right? It says, if a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it and add unto it. Right? So, hey, when you break, this is manyfold. When you break it down in precepts, right? Isaiah said a wise word, right? Solomon said a wise word, right? David said wise words, right? So as a skillful man, right, you're going to commend with the wind that they say. We acknowledge these things as the words of the Lord. You understand that? And then guess what? We add in unto it, right? Sirach said 21 chapters so far of very, very, very wise things, right? And I'm going to add unto these things and make it relatable, right? It says, but as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casteth it behind his back, right? Because then let's get this precept. Let's get this precept. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 12. 11. Sirach 10 and 11. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and the babbler is no better. Right? Because a babbler, you don't even have to trigger him. He's going to continue to speak his own words. Right? Verse 12. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. You understand that? So boom, you heard the words of the Lord. And this is describing a fool, right? In Sirach 21. A fool, you heard the words of the Lord, you don't understand it, and you despise it, and you cast it behind your back. You understand that? And you do what? You're going to swallow up yourself because you're rejecting so much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Right? And this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is what allows us to keep going on a day-to-day basis, man. You wake up in the morning, you know not to do X, Y, Z. You're going throughout your day, you faced with certain, objects. You're faced with certain choices to make in life. You know not to do this, and you know to do this, man. Right? Let's go back to Sirach. That's just how it goes. That's the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you get from the scriptures, laws, statutes, and commandments. Sirach chapter 21 and verse number 16. It says, the talking of a fool is like a burden in the way, but grace shall be found in the lips of the wise. They inquire at the mouth of the wise man in the congregation, and they that shall ponder his words in their heart. As is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool. And the knowledge of the unwise is as talk without sense. When you see a house that's destroyed, it's literally good for nothing. Or if anything, it's good for nothing but wickedness. Because Jake, in the world, you see a house that's destroyed and you call it an abandoned house and you sell drugs out of it, man. Right? That is the whole definition of casting something behind your damn back, man. Right? Right? It says, as is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool, man. So, man, a fool, he's going to regard actual wisdom like it's nothing. It's going to look like nothing to him, all right? And these are keys that you got to have when you're dealing with other people, right? Dealing with other people, you got to realize what you're giving them is wisdom, right? But off their first mindset, their first intention, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's nothing. You understand that? And that ain't nothing, right? It's nothing. It's casted behind my back, right? So you got to make it appealing to draw them in. And then you use all this wisdom to, get them in this truth and everything, right? So let's read on. It says, verse 19. Oh, it's like, yeah, verse 19. Doctrine unto fools is as fetters on the feet and like manacles on the right hand, right? Doctrine to fools is as fetters on the feet because they think, oh, it's holding me down. I can't keep the commandments. I want to do what I want to do. You hold me down, man. Right? Verse 20. A fool lifted up his voice with laughter. Right? And I was just laughing. Right? It says, a fool lifted up his voice with laughter, but a wise man doeth scarce to smile a little. Right? Learning is wise unto a man as an ornament of gold and like a bracelet upon his right arm. Because remember, you should love learning, man. You should love listening to breakdowns, podcasts, whatever it may be, because you learn, man. Right? Who don't love to learn? Right? You should love to learn. Jake don't like to learn. Right? You don't really learn anything from scrolling on TikTok, right? You might see something to spark an idea. You understand that? But everything on there you're not really learning nothing, man. Right? Right? It says, a foolish man's foot is soon... It's like a foolish man's foot is soon in his neighbor's house, but a man of experience is ashamed of him. A fool will peep in at the door into the house, but he that is well nurtured will stand without. It is the rudeness of a man to hearken at the door, but a wise man will be grieved with his disgrace. The lips of talkers will be telling such things as pertain not unto them, but the words of such as have understanding are weighed in a balance, man. The heart of fools is in their mouth. The heart of fools is in their mouth. Because a fool, he's going to say whatever he got to say. Whatever is on his mind, he's going to say it. And everything that's on your mind don't need to be said. You understand that? It says, when the ungodly curseth Satan, he curseth his own soul. Right? Here it is, you getting on the spiritual demon Satan, you getting on certain spirits, but at the same time, what that's really talking about is how you're condemning yourself, right? The scriptures talk about you cast a judgment, and you really condemning yourself by casting that judgment. That's Romans the 2nd chapter, right? So you're condemning yourself by casting that judgment because you're guilty of that same cause that you judged upon. Verse number 28, a whisperer. It says, a whisperer defileth his own soul and is hated wheresoever he dwelleth, man. And with that, shalom,